This is my data overview of Simpson Elementary School, and the data that I'm going to be looking at today is an in-depth look at third grade reading data based on Gwinnett County district assessments. The purpose of this overview is to process and share data analysis results in an effort to create an awareness of student demographics, student achievements, and student weaknesses at Simpson Elementary School in third grade for reading based on Gwinnett County AKS standards. The objectives for this overview is to review the demographic changes at Simpson Elementary School over the past 3 years, to review the student achievement changes in reading on the Georgia Milestones Assessment at Simpson Elementary School over the last 3 years, as well as review student achievement changes with Gwinnett County AKS reading standards, to continue ongoing data analysis to determine areas of improvement within reading classrooms from the data presented, and to identify strengths and weaknesses in the current reading instruction at Simpson Elementary School. Questions to consider while reviewing the reading data would be: number 1, what are the current strengths for students' reading scores? Number 2, what are the current weaknesses for students' reading scores? Number 3, are there any demographics of students not succeeding? Number 4, what are some adjustments that teachers can make to ensure student success? And number 5, how can reading teachers effectively use short-term data to drive instruction? Okay, so this is an overview of Simpson Elementary School. The first graph that I have is a CCRPI index over the last 3 years. So it is showing a compilation of the data from 2016, 2017, and 2018, and it is comparing the CCRPI results of Simpson Elementary School, Gwinnett County, and the state of Georgia. And as you can see, for all 3 years, 2016, 2017, and 2018, Simpson Elementary School has outranked Gwinnett County schools as well as the state of Georgia. Okay, the next graph is Simpson Elementary's CCRPI categorical data trends. So these are the 4 areas that are ranked in the CCRPI index, and those are challenge, gap, progress, and achievement. If you look at your graph here, the gap in progress has remained the same over the last 3 years. And then the challenge score has actually decreased every year from 2016 to 2018. And the achievement seems to be fluctuating. So in 2016 it was 45.3. In 2017 it went up to 48.5. And then in 2018 it went back down to 45.2. Our demographic profile. Student enrollment over the last 3 years, as you can see, has steadily increased. In 2016-2017, there were 961 students enrolled at Simpson Elementary School. In the academic year 2017 to 2018, there were 970 students. And in the academic year from 2018 to 2019, there are 974 students. Enrollment by gender was fairly similar for the school years of 2016 to 2017 and the school years of 2018 and 2019. But as you can see in 2017, 2018, for the years 2018 and 2019, you can see that gender gap got larger, with female students being at 401 students and male students being at 573, which is a difference of 172 children, which are all male. Our student population by subgroup, the limited English proficient has increased over the last 3 years, going from 32 students to 40 students to 48 students. The eligible for free or reduced lunch has also increased over the last 3 years, going from 100 students to 110 students, and finally this year, 2018, reaching 113 students. However, the students with disabilities has decreased slightly. In 2016, we had 154 students. In 2017, we had 152 students. And in 2018, we have 150 students. Finally, our student population for gifted students has fluctuated. In 2016, we had 142 students. In 2017, we had 130 students. And in 2018, we had 138 students. Our student ethnicity for this year is predominantly white. We have no students that are classified as American Indian. We have 9% of students that are African American, 10% of students that are Asian, 9% of students that are Hispanic, and 4% of students that identify as multiracial, which is 2 or more races. Our student attendance is fairly good. We have 50% of our students that have been enrolled every single day since August, with 48% of those being present for those days. We have an average percentage of 1% for days absent and 1% for days tardy. Teacher profile. Our teacher ethnicity is broken down into the same categories as our student ethnicity. We have 3% African American, 0% American Indian, 1% Asian, 1% Hispanic, 5% multiracial, and 90% white. Our teacher gender. 95% of the teachers at Simpson Elementary School are females, and 5% of the teachers are male. Teacher certification level. We have 20 teachers that have a bachelor's degree, 34 teachers that have a bachelor and master's degree, 14 teachers that have a bachelor's, master's, and specialist degree, and 1 teacher with their doctorate, specialist, master's, and bachelor's. Our teachers' experience in education ranges between 0 years of experience and above 26 years of experience. So between 0 and 5 years, we have 5 staff members. Between 6 and 10 years, we have 11 teachers. Between 11 and 15, we have 19 teachers. And between 16 and 20, we have 13 teachers. Between 21 and 25 years is 11 teachers, and 26 years and above is also 11 teachers. Student achievement data. Georgia Milestones third grade reading data for the year 2015 is ranked with Stripling Elementary School, Gwinnett County, and the state of Georgia. So as you can see here, Stripling Elementary School had the lowest percentage of students in the beginning and developing performance rankings, with the highest percentage of students in the proficient and distinguished performance rankings, compared against Gwinnett County and the state of Georgia. The third grade reading data for the Georgia Milestones in 2016 shows that Simpson Elementary had the lowest percentage of students in the beginning and developing categories, while Simpson Elementary School had the highest number of proficient and distinguished students for that performance ranking compared to Gwinnett County and the state of Georgia. The third grade reading data for the Georgia Milestones in 2017 shows that Simpson Elementary School had the lowest percentage of developing and beginning and the highest percentage of proficient and distinguished as compared to Gwinnett County and the state of Georgia. The third grade reading data for Georgia Milestones in 2018 shows that Simpson Elementary School had the lowest number of beginning and developing students compared to Gwinnett County and the state of Georgia, but had the highest percentage of proficient and distinguished students compared to Gwinnett County and the state of Georgia. Based on all four graphs, it is apparent that Simpson Elementary School has outranked Gwinnett County performance and the state of Georgia's performance the past 4 years for the area of third grade reading. District assessments, this is our drill down. So I wanted to do district assessments because for the milestones data, we were unable to gather specific standards, which is really where I think the point of a data overview is to figure out which standards and skills students need assistance with. So for the purpose of this data overview, I gathered my own data from my reading post-test scores last year of my class. So for the third grade reading post-test data, I had 41% beginning, 18% developing, 23% proficient, and 18% that were distinguished. This is out of 22 children. The percentage of students based on gender, 55% of my students were male and 45% of my students were female. The percentage of proficiency and above, the majority of my students that ranked proficiency and above were male, so 74% ranked proficiency and above were male, and 26% of proficiency and above were female. Percentage of proficiency and above by subgroup. Based on this chart, my English language learners had 0% proficiency. My special education students had 0% proficiency. However, my gifted students had 100% proficiency. Percentage of proficiency and above by ethnicity, 50% of proficiency came from African American students, 40% of proficiency was Asian students. I had 0% Hispanics rate in the proficiency or above category, and 43% of white students got proficiency or above. Average scores per standard based on gender. As you can see in this chart, the percentage of males outranks the percentage of females with the exception of 2 standards. For standard 3LA A51, females scored significantly below the male students. 3LA A21, the females outscored the males by a little under 4%. And 3LA F41C1, they were tied. Average scores per standard based on subgroups. If we look at our standards on the left, we can see that for standards 3LA B11-1 and 3LA A13, there were significant gaps between gifted students and English language learners. So for 3LA B11, The English language learners did not rank at all on that scale. And for 3 LAA 1-3, gifted students did not rank on that scale either. Average scores per standard based on ethnicity. For the standards of 3LA B11, 3LA A51, 3LA A43, and 3LA A13, Hispanic students did not rank. Therefore, they did not get any questions based on those standards correct. The standards where I seemed to have the highest achievement were 3LA A21 and 3LA F41C1. Some strengths for this data. Simpson Elementary School has consistent enrollment. We have more than 50% average scores on most standards. The teacher certification level is high. More than half of all teachers have a degree beyond their bachelor's. 92% of teachers have more than 5 years of experience. Simpson Elementary has scored higher on the Georgia Milestones Assessment than the district and the state consecutively the last 4 years. And Simpson Elementary has a higher CCRPI than the district and state consecutively the last 3 years. Weaknesses. The number of ELL and SPED students being below proficient. Standards 3LA A51, 3LA A43, 3LA A13, and 3LA B11 are all areas of struggle. Number 3, discrepancies between the number of male and female students performing at the proficient or distinguished level on the district assessments. And finally, no standards were considered distinguished based on data of all students combined. Suggested action steps would be to target at-risk students based on gender, ethnicity, and subgroups, and provide RTI interventions for remediation and content mastery. We should examine test questions to ensure reliability and validity, and reteach standards that were ranked as beginning with students' understanding. Next steps. Discuss possible causes of low-performing groups, create an action plan to target low-performing students, and small group interventions. That is the end of my data overview, and I hope you have enjoyed.